Hi.
My face
Una.
has no words. A container disassociating in non-linearity.
Hi.
Excuse me. Let me start that again. It looks like there was an echo somewhere.
Una.
How's
Hold on
no
a
one- in non-linearity. Okay. My face has no words. A container disassociating in non-linearity. The attempted castration wrist, a hand on my hip. Disembodiment que llora in double losing. I hide my growing breasts under my shirt. Hide the dresses in my throat. Swallow broken mirrors of my id to see what tatters first. My voice, my flesh, my ontology, the metaphysics of touch. I touch my cheek, I touch my neck. And softness me is softening, despite the stubble. Eyes widen, I expand in traumatizing layers. And I am here, gazing, staring, glaring, surveying this new map of me, que llora, in attempted joy, teeth at my nape, and shaking to exhaustion. I am saying words to relate to you this precarious reflection. Yo soy una luna in non-lineated song. Yo soy un encanto en carne. Yo soy una repairing of raptures. Yo soy una mujer. Yo soy una mujer. Soy becoming Dios mismo. And everyone, welcome to another edition of the Esquina Open Mic. I am so happy to have you all here today. I am your host for this evening, Isa Guzman. I am so happy to have you all here right now. And our feature for tonight will be IAM Iris, Iris A. Morales. I am so excited for tonight, and we're just gonna go right into it. We're gonna have an open mic first. And again, thank you all for being here. So let's begin. First up on the mic, I am going to choose. Sean Hobbs. You are new to the open mic. Let's start you off. Unmute yourself and go right ahead.
Okay, this is a passage. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, this is a passage from the medieval play La Celestina by Bernardo de Rojas. The old woman Celestina, acting as a romantic go-between, has brought to Callisto the silk girdle of Melibea, who rejected him earlier in the play. I'll be doing both parts. Quizás tienes pena, pues cuando los otros reposan en sus camas, preparas tú el trabajo para sufrir otro día. Esfuérzate, Señor, que no hizo Dios a quien desamparase. Da espacio a tu deseo. Toma este cordón, que si yo no me muero, yo te daré a su ama. Oh nuevo huésped, oh bienaventurado cordón, que tanto poder y merecimiento tuviste de ceñir aquel cuerpo que yo no soy digno de servir. Oh nudos de mi pasión, vosotros en las estéis mis deseos. Decidme si os oísteis presentes en la desconsolada respuesta de aquella a quien vosotros servís y yo adoro. Y por más que trabajo noches y días, no me vale ni aprovecha. Refrán viejo es, quien menos procura, alcanza más bien. Pero yo te haré procurando conseguir lo que siendo negligente no habrías. Consuélate, Señor, que en una hora no se ganó Zamora, pero no por eso desconfiaron los combatientes. Oh, desdichado, que las ciudades están con piedras cercadas y a piedras las vencen. Pero esta mi señora tiene el corazón de acero. No hay metal que con él pueda. No hay tiro que le melle. Pues pone escalas en su muro. Unos ojos tiene con que echa saetas. Una lengua llena de reproches y desvíos. El asiento tiene en parte que a media legua no le pueden poner cerco. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean. That was wonderful. So moving forward, next to the mic, Tony Alarando.
Thank you. I want what I cannot have and cannot see. I want the world and eternity. I want to run wild and be free. Don't want no one bothering me. I want a ticket on a JetBlue plane. I want to mop my kitchen and listen to breakup music without feeling pain. And I want every man, woman, and child suffering from a mental health illness to please stop being called insane. I want back my old neighborhood. I want back my youth. I want to be angry. And that's the truth. I want some justice. I want no lies. I want no funerals. I want no cries. I want all men to experience the blind. I want them to see that beauty's in the mind. I want back the memory the police beat out of me August the 14th of 1993. I want back those memories. I want back that knowledge. They beat me so bad I had to drop out of college. I want to know who, what, where, why, and when the good life begins and the hood life ends. I want to know. Who am I? Who are you? Do I know me? Do you know you? Do any of us even really want to know, or are we just afraid? Afraid of the truth. Some say the truth can really hurt. Others say the truth will set you free. Whatever that means. Who am I? Am I the weak father who walked out on his wife, gave up on life, looked his little girl in the eye and said, goodbye? Who am I? Am I the bastard delinquent child my mama couldn't handle, the good boy gone bad, the bad man gone mad, a strung out dope fiend in a rush to reach the pearly gate? Am I Catholic, Baptist, gay, or am I straight? Who am I? Will I find out too late? Am I a santero, conguero, a taino chief, or just some Puerto Rican spick filled with grief? Am I high? Am I low? Or just some guy you call bro, yo, as if I was John Doe? Coño, I have a name too, you know. And is it true? Am I the illegitimate stepchild of a Puerto Rican hoe? I don't think so. Who am I? Where am I to go? Am I a part of the new status quo with a new revelation? And what shall be my occupation? Who am I? Can anyone save me? Or if I reach out my hands for help, will you just enslave me? Who am I? And the last one, we are poets. We're at La Esquina, we're not that hard to find. We'll massage your temples, touch your hearts, and masturbate your mind. We are poets. We can take pretty words, put them in a poem, and plant a mental seed. Or we can take shitty words when we're filled with rage, put them on the page, and make it bleed. We are poets. We can put words together describing an aroma and make you think that page was scented. We are poets. The reason the exclamation point was invented. We write, recite, and perform. We never ever conform. It's the way we poets know damn well we were born. Pushed out, performing and crying since birth, our hearts already broken and torn. But we as poets, we can take pieces of broken words, turn them into spoken words, and give a broken heart a fresh new start. Take a young child's broken dreams and mend them with spoken seams. We are poets, blessed and filled with words. We create with words, relate with words, transform and relocate hearts and minds with words. We are poets. We say things like 5 times 5 divided by pi equal the number of rainbow stars in the sky. And have you asked why? We are poets. It's simple mathematics times dramatics factored into a poetical third eye. And the answer in the back of your mind's book is even simpler. We are poets. Ay, ay, ay. Love making, keyboard breaking, erotic poets. We can make a pen, make love to paper, and make it come. Make words intoxicate your mind like a strong Puerto Rican rum. We are poets. From our hearts, the words flow. Through our tongues, mouths, and lips, those words magically know where to go. In our heads, the poets of the dead are awoken. We speak from our hearts with the voices of the broken. We are poets, this much we know. We give birth to words, touch Mother Earth through words, and at open mics open our mouths and pour out our hearts through words. We write then rewrite and double check the last rewrite because we know the last rewrite is the one that has to be right. We are poets. We share our breath with words, and we will write and recite till our death with words. We are poets. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Oh my God. Thank you so much again, Tony. Next up to the mic, can we please have Sunshine Lombre?
Hello, thank you so much for organizing this event. Yeah, I'm excited to share with you all. All right. My brothers and sisters, half brothers and sisters, siblings, and third, fourth, fifth cousins of color, this is an ode. To the children who've risen from the soil with skin kissed by the sun, with hair growing in tight ringlets and waves resembling our chains of DNA. After riding through many nights of oppressions, depressions, cultural appropriations, or obsessions of the many other forms of darkness, we all rise to shine in our many different flavors, in our many different colors. We are love, we are lit, we are light. We are the children of the sun. And it's time we regroup and repair. Collect our peace of mind, collect our hopes, dreams, pleasant memories, and bake them into a sweetly seasoned lifetime of prosperity. Not just talking like silly Instagram relationship goals, squad goals, body goals, because we were all created in his image without imperfection. And with that being said, we need to end our team light skin, dark skin conflict and colorism, because genetically, deep down, we're all different hybrids with a divine purpose. We need to edit our views of masculinity because our views are entirely too fragile unless loved through our guarded hearts. And repair the broken communities around us that house those that are too worried to dream, too scared to stand, or too afraid that they have nothing worth protecting. We need to stop serving cult-like corporations that aren't serving us and protect our neighboring businesses that depend on us. They need our protection. They need our love. It's time to heal, time to return to our mother nature. We know this man-made medicine barely helps us. Not our insomnia, eczema, high blood pressure, or nightmares. Return to Mama Nature with the daily bread that she offers us, hanging in trees and resting in the fields. Let's sample her herbal remedies and accept her breath while we dream and regularly step away from the frequent frantic notifications and pray to the heavens with her. It's cured us for centuries before we choke down lab-cooked pills to temporarily fix the side effects of another pill's side effects. We are the children of the sun. We shine our many flavors on every corner of this earth. We are lit, we are light, we are love, and it is time that we radiate our love. Mother Earth is crying out to us. It's time to radiate our love. Our underloved and spiritually malnourished siblings are crying out to us. It is time to radiate our love. Brothers and sisters, it's time that we radiate our love. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so good. We are the children of the sun. It's time to radiate our love. So much. Thank you so much for that piece. Next person up to the mic, I would like to bring up a sister of mine, Sarah Serrano. We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. All right. So this is called Windows. In this basement, I've lived. No functional windows to open, no sense of time, just my thoughts, a broken compass. I slink upstairs for a moment of solitude when the too much energy sits outside for afternoon tea, who is suspicious of windows too open to fit large bodies through, is not there to guard it. I lunge for the window like a madman in a desert, lips cracked, mouth filled with cotton, desperately raising it, pushing as high as I can, feeling the pushback. I gulp the tropical winds that burst through this house until my throat and sides hurt. My body feeling something for the first time in months, or maybe for the first time in my life, when I have become aware of the sadness that I have carried 100 heavy anchors. I surface for this air, fall in love with the wind who is never trapped and is never the same, only familiar. I listen to its humming, whispering, it's my turn to escape. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Next up to the mic, can we please get Rebecca?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
There are laws now, like real laws that say I have a right to identity. Something that's already mine, but there are laws now, like real laws that say I'm allowed to have rizos y griferia, this kinked afro, this locked wool, this twisted vineyard of cornrows from front to neck. And now I won't be sent to the kitchen when company comes. Oh, if Hughes could be here for this. We won't. I won't be hidden. I have a place in the world now. Thank the heavens, there are laws now, despite having despite not having control over where or how or what this tribal gift is fitting to do, there are laws now that give this permission to exist, despite that it already exists, despite that I already exist. There are laws now that believe they have more say than science, laws apparently with more say than the very genes passed down to me, a hereditary make-up predetermined, prophesized with how loud, how big, how high into the heavens, or how much of the kingdom I am to announce. Somebody got to have control. So there are laws now, laws so third world nation of this so-called power nation, the same nation that cages our mestizo brothers who, let's be honest, prayed over this land way before we did. But thank the heavens, on to more important things. There are laws now that say I can sit at the table with the rest of the rainbow. It's true, it made the New York Times. Just ask Cassidy Jones, fighter of crowns and glory. There are laws now, have you ever heard of such a thing? a whole set of guidelines on accepting the human in these strands, the love song of these tresses. There are laws now. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Thank you.
Woo.
Thank you so much, everyone. Give a nice round of applause to Rebecca. Thank you so much. Next up to the mic is Saura Jackson. Not
Oh no,
my
honey.
mistake.
I'm here to I need triggers because I gotta write something.
You need triggers.
I love y'all. And I think you all are brilliant. Maybe next time. Bye.
Okay. So next up to the mic then. Let's bring on D-Bird Totally Not Daniel Gastambide.
I have no idea what you're referring to. This individual is nothing but a bucket of lies. Tonight, I would like to introduce you to a series of words. Words found actually in my library where I'm currently trapped because Issa won't let me go outside. So I have no choice but to just make do with what I got, and what I got, I'm going to use to make do. But without further ado, my name is Daniel Jose Gastambide Nuñez Herria Costa Suarez Ceja. Bird. But you can call me D-Bird. And this is entitled Library. White flights, power games, talking cures, healing after parent loss in childhood and adolescence, how Freud worked, unorthodox, the mind of the moralist, razón, locura y sociedad. A history of psychoanalysis in America. Fuck that. A people's history of psychoanalysis. The wretched of the earth. Neurotic personality of our time. In search of common ground. Principles of interpretation. Reverie and interpretation. Working with trauma between client and therapist. Psychodynamic techniques. The bonds of love. Finding space, a meeting of minds, a psychotherapy for the people. Hauntings. Estimado Dr. Freud, le quiero escribir una carta, no sé si ha recibido mis últimos mensajes. Deseo hablar con usted el día de hoy. Tenemos que intercambiar palabras. ¿No me quiere contestar? No hay problema. Yo hablo por usted una y otra vez, trabajando como el mundo atrapado between immigration and acculturation. The American Latino, which is really a mask for privilege. Freud upside down is what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen. The analyst in the inner city, psychoanalysis in the barrios. A political Freud is what we need at the end of the day. We need to move towards psychologies of liberation. Life against death, eros and civilization, liberation and its limits, dual allegiances, terror and transformation, the empire of trauma, dialogues on difference, unconscious dominions. Blood that cries from the earth. The spirit level, the balance within, because we're all imbalanced until we get to November 3rd, where we'll only become more unbalanced, more deeply unbalanced to the point of unbalancing this very world, which is why we need to be in touch with the feeling of what happens. Because if we are not in tune with our feelings, we will go out of tune, which is why we must prophesy deliverance and move through the stages of faith.
Thank you so much, D-Bird, not Daniel Gastambides, who did not just plug in his own book or his t-shirt of Freud that he has in the back of his chair. Thank you so much again. We're gonna bring on the final reader for the open mic. We had a very small, intimate group today, which is always nice. I would like to bring to the stage Mario Ponce Pagan. He's going to take his time going to the stage because he has to walk to his kitchen.
I'm sorry. Funny joke about how many títeres does it take to operate this thing, and I do apologize. I'm having technical issues in my living room. So I wrote a series of prayer poems. So I have like 3 really short ones, if you don't mind. I actually wrote one last night because we were watching Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio, and there was a scene that I had to write about. So this is called, the category is Shakespeare realism. And Mercutio is Donna Summers. Thank you. The next poem is called, the category is A Prayer for Little Papi. My dude, I have never heard a man so vulnerable pour his heart so sweetly, free of patriarchy, abandon his machismo. Not even Adam knew what it was like to speak to a woman the way you spoke to Angel. To let go of all that breaks you, to be free of the chains that weigh you down, that lie we are told as children, que los hombres no lloran, that we are hard. Thank you for showing me how easy it is to be tender. This is the last piece. The category is A Prayer to Angel. Mamita, you todas las cositas que Diosito hizo lindas, natural from la matriz. I've never seen a pava real in the flesh con pelo salvaje, ojos brujos. You can buy el sol with your smile, vulnerable, quiet star from El Bronx. Hey, Angel, you look good, girl. Buenas noches.
Round of applause for Mario. Thank you so much. And that concludes our short open mic for this evening. We are now going to bring on our featured guest. Our featured guest this evening is IAM, Iris A. Morales. I'll read her quick bio and then I'll tell you what we're doing this evening. IAM, Iris A. Morales, is a queer Boricua visual and literary artist born and raised in the Bronx. She is currently published with the Staten Island Zine League. Iris is also working on 2 video projects dealing with Taino mythology and Black Lives Matter. She currently resides in Washington Heights. Iris,
Hi.
thank you so much for being here.
Linda.
So we're going to do something a little special this time around. Iris is not only a poet, but she is also a visual artist. And I want to showcase some of that work here to the community this evening. So what we're going to do first is we're going to conduct a small interview. We're going to talk to Iris about her and her work. And then we're going to get to her poems at the end. All right. So Iris, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Well, let's start off with some simple questions. Tell me a little bit about your background. You were born and raised in the Bronx. I also know you were raised somewhere else, but please, where are the places that you call home?
Honestly,
Start off with some simple questions. Tell me a little bit about your background. You were born and raised in the Bronx. I also know you were raised somewhere else, but please, where are the places that you call home?
I think honestly,
these are the technical difficulties of the títeres that we had currently mentioned previously. We wanted to be able to show Iris's work. We will still be able to do that. But Iris, continue answering the question.
It's all right. Honestly, to be honest, the places that I consider home, it wouldn't be actual locations. You know, as I've been going through my journey, I find myself to be my own home. And I find my son to be my home. I don't think I ever found an actual location growing up to call home. Now, if you want to consider like the Bronx, yeah, you know, I was born and raised in the Bronx, but I don't really think of a place that I'd be like, okay, that's home.
Okay. Then tell us, what was your first exposure to art? Because you've recently just gone through a whole resurgence where you're just doing art now. You're putting it all over the place. It's been really exciting to see. So let's start from the beginning. When were you first introduced to art? When did you first start?
My father was the first one to expose me to art. My father was an amazing artist. When he was younger, he used to paint murals in Philadelphia. He always wanted to attend art school, but he taught himself basically. So my house was filled with art. You know, he was constantly drawing, painting. At the age of 8 or 9, that's when he actually sat down with me and he's like, you know, I want you to learn art and I want you to fall in love with art the way I did. So basically every other night, you know, he'll bring out the canvases, the paintbrushes, he'll bring out t-shirts, show me how to do designs on t-shirts, which I did like my own shirt, and I think I was in the 4th grade. And one of my friends like, I want a shirt. So I also did them a shirt. Yeah, we would spend hours, you know, in the living room. He would play salsa, you know, and we would spend hours just painting, you know. He was also a handball player, so he used to design t-shirts for his teammates. And it was something to marvel at, actually. You know, he was a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger's body when he was, you know, bodybuilding. So he used to kind of create his own mythological godlike creatures, because he used to like paint his body and then infuse like the line of a face of a lion or a gorilla or an eagle. And that was something that I took in as well, of using your imagination, you know, to express yourself. Also in middle school, I used to attend art class after school. So my teachers, you know, they saw how good I was and wanted me to paint murals in my middle school hallways. As well, I almost attended fashion industry for high school, but then 9/11 occurred and my mom was like, you're not going down there. So yeah, I was basically raised in art and learned to love it and appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Then I guess my next question, because you've been doing art all your life, when did you first start doing the sort of art that you're doing right now? When did you want to start showing off your work to the community? When did you begin starting that?
I think it all started when I got divorced. You know, I stopped doing art for almost 15 years. I stopped, you know, and after I got divorced, you know, I moved out, and it just called back to me. It's like, you need to come back home, basically, and you need to create. That's what you do. You're a creator. I started at first, you know, with painting canvases and, you know, cutting little magazines and making like posters of myself. But the body art, as I started, it all started off with Mario's poem, Reasons Why Puerto Ricans Should March in the Puerto Rican Parade. And he told me, he was like, I want you to create an art piece for my poem and I want to show it off. But at that time, I didn't have any canvases. And I was like, how in the hell I'm gonna create an art piece for his poem? And I was just like staring myself in the mirror and I was like, Perate, I am a canvas. And it just all started off from there. You know, I created my first piece with acrylic paint, and even though it looked awesome, it was quite uncomfortable because it's like not meant for the skin, and I couldn't move my face, you know, and it began to crack a little bit. But that's when I was like, I think I found my niche, you know. And that's when the whole body art started off with his poem.
I guess we should be talking about your work then. Let's see if it is possible to bring some of your work up.
Okay.
Mario, is it possible to bring your work up? If it is possible to bring some of your work up.
Okay.
Mario, is it possible to bring your work up? If it is possible to bring some of your work up.
Okay.
Mario, I'm going to assume that is it possible to bring your work up? Yeah. Hold on 1 second. If it is possible to bring some of your work up.
Okay.
Mario, I'm going to assume that it's possible to bring your work up. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. If it is possible to bring some of your work up.
Okay.
Mario, I'm going to assume that it's possible to bring your work up. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. If it is possible to bring some of your work up.
Okay.
Mario, I'm going to assume that it's possible to bring your work up. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. If it is possible to bring some of your work up.
Okay.
Mario, I'm going to assume that it's possible to bring your work up. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. If it is possible to bring some of your work up.
Okay.
Mario, I'm going to assume that it's possible to bring your work up. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. If it is possible to bring some of your work up.
I mean, that was a performance unto its own.
That certainly was. Thank you, Mario Ponce-Pagan, for sharing us some
And that was like
noise remix. But if you could possibly give everyone sharing abilities, Mario, I'm going to have Daniel share the work up.
Welcome to the time-traveling Títere Hour. We are your hosts for this space and time continuum. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk everyone through these steps, just so we're all on the same page. I am going to mute myself after I share my screen. And if need be, I will also mute my fucking computer to the ground to make sure we do not have an echo. So let's try that again.
Okay, thank you so much, Daniel. Could you go to the next screen? All right. So this piece is part of your Muerta series, which is Vengeance 2. Let's go to the next one. All right, Witch's Vengeance #5. So I wanted to talk to you about this specific poem. I mean, this specific, well, it is a poem all in itself, but the specific painting. Tell us a little bit about the painting itself. I'm always curious about how you come to painting, and it comes from a very spiritual place. So like, talk to us a little bit about the painting, how you made it, and tell us about who the witch is. How did you come to know her, etc., etc.?
Well, La Muerta, she's actually one of my spirit guides. She made herself known to me when I was 16, when I was going through a very difficult time in my life. At the age of 16, I came out. My mother found out that I was dating a girl, and I was born and raised in the Jehovah's Witnesses, so things didn't go too well. And they asked me, if I repented and all these things, but I said no, and they expelled me basically. So with that came consequences of like losing all of my friends that that I was raised in there, and everyone who's involved, and my mother, stopped having a relationship with me to the point that we couldn't even go out together, or I was isolated. I was secluded into my room. So it was school and the room. I had to pick up the plate of food and go to the room. She didn't want nothing to do with me. So I was going through that, coming out, losing everything that I knew. I was writing my feelings into a journal. She found that, she broke it apart. So it was more of I was secluded in the room, no form of communication, not talking to anyone, no sense of support. So that apartment itself had a lot of like spirits and energies. So I guess because of that time, that spirit guide made herself known to me. And she was a bruja. She told me her story, how she became who she is, the entity that she is, which she still walks with me today. So with that piece, basically, she burned everything. She burned everything down in her village because her people disowned her and betrayed her and murdered her, basically. So everything that you see there is what's left of the village that she burned down. Every time that I do a piece with her, we come together. So it's kind of a ritual. It's a ritual piece.
Can we go back to the previous piece real quick?
But first, a follow-up question. So this piece was then not inspired by Mambo #5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When the witches come to town, they curse ham crap. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But it should have.
The previous page, 45.
Fine, I'll go back to the earlier piece.
Thank you. Now, you were telling us, Iris, how you found yourself deeply connected. And I remember during one of our personal conversations, you were saying how you really saw her like within yourself. So talk us through this first piece. This is one of the earlier pieces before you did the preview, the #5. So please tell us a little bit about this piece.
Which one? The #2?
Yes.
So basically, when she made herself known to me, it was through dreams. And when I saw her, it was more of, I saw my face, and everything just started to make sense now that I'm older, because I found out, through my family, that I do come from a line of witches. And as the older that I got, I accepted that I am a witch. So I guess she knew that before I knew. And it was easier to make that connection between us. And she also went through situations in her time, you know, feeling betrayed, feeling unwanted, betrayed by her people, expelled by her village, you know, and which led to her death. And I was going through basically the same thing. You know, I was expelled from the congregation, from everything that I knew. You know, the relationship between my mother was already done. I was in seclusion, you know, and she just basically came and be like, I see myself in you. So I'm gonna walk with you. I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna be your protector. And then she's been there. So what more of feeling gratitude of taking my art and telling her story. You know?
Very nice. And so she was a spiritual figure that really helped you through moments of trauma. You mentioned getting thrown out the church, but if we can go 2 paintings ahead.
God, so bossy. How many pages ahead?
Just 2.
Just 2. 1. Oh, wait, my finger slipped. 1. Wait, let me click. 1. There we go. 2. Oh my.
Gracias.
De nalgas.
Ay, Dios. So this piece is a very interesting piece by you, and it speaks to another traumatic event that you've gone through. Please talk to us a little bit about this piece, Don't Tell Mom. Tell us a little bit about the painting itself. What is it depicting or speaking to? And, you know, I want to go into the larger question, because we're starting to talk about trauma here. What role does art play with you in terms of processing trauma?
Well, I naturally process information visually better than words. Words tend to like run through my mind so fast that it takes my time to express myself. But I think it just all goes back to the love and passion that my father installed in me when it comes to art. And when I couldn't even write my feelings, at least I always found a piece of paper or a pencil and was able at least to express my feelings, drawing or just scribbling. So it's more of a form of survival, you know, helping me survive, keep sane. It was more of a life and death for me at the time. You know, keeping my sanity.
So what does this painting depict for you?
So this painting called Don't Tell Mom was, well, it's I was molested at the age of around 6 or 7 by my older brother. So, you know, he didn't verbally speak, he was deaf and mute. So at the time I did know a little bit of sign language, and he would, you know, sign to me, don't tell mom, you know, and you know, keep it a secret, you know. And in this painting, the background, as you see, it's like white, and then it's like grayish, and then in the edges it's like scraped off. Are those images that I remember of the boys' room. You know, it's like, for some reason, that apartment, I mean, that room specifically, mold always used to like pop up, and no matter how much you painted or try to use any chemicals on it, it would not go away. So that's like that kind of the depiction of remembering that mold on that room. The shadows, if you see here, I don't know if you could actually see it, it's kind of like a form of like a floating figure. And it wasn't intentional, but once I saw it in the end, it kind of resonated with the association at the time. And then growing up, you know, I would dissociate from certain situations and not realize it. The shadows, you know, of my trauma that kind of was following me throughout my life. And then the whole red lining was kind of him finding womanhood that wasn't there yet.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and then, you know, use my fingertips on the canvas and stuff like that. And it's just kind of leaving my mark.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And yeah.
If you can go to the next slide.
I just want to comment right quick that the swishes themselves, even without hearing the backstory, there was a sense that you were almost translating these swishes,
Mm-hmm.
almost like they were the movements of sign language themselves being translated for the person perceiving this piece of art, which is incredibly artful. But I'll be a good little keyboard manager and get us to the next slide right here.
No, but thank you for that comment, Daniel.
Oh my
Thank you for that.
Okay, Daniel. This piece is called Apocalyptic Womb. Now we're heading even further back, aren't we? What is this piece depicting for you, Iris? What's the story behind this one?
Well, as you can see, you see unborn baby inside what seems to be a womb, and is wearing a gas mask because what's surrounding the unborn baby is like poison and toxic shit that's not able to breathe. And what seems like death is with this child. So it also seems like this child, well, the unborn baby is like between the veil of life and death. So I was told that I was born premature, and I was born sick. I was born blue, underweight, and for the reason that when my mother was pregnant of me, she was inept, you know, using drugs, alcohol. And when I was born, the doctors literally told my mother, you know, you have to prepare yourself to say goodbye because she's not going to make it. So my mother told me that I think a few days later when I was in the NICU, she came and she held my hand and she said that she spoke to God and said that, you know, I don't know you, but if you, you know, save my child, I will dedicate the rest of my life to you. And she said that the next day the doctors were baffled that I was getting better. So yeah, that's the depiction, you know, that I was basically dying in her womb because she, you know, she was doing these type of things and I almost died. So that was also in the sense of apocalyptic womb. You know, I was between the veil of life and death.
So definitely I wanted to point this out about the work so far, and also with your other pieces. I do want to talk about the project, but we can talk about the project as a whole, what all of these, it's a collaborative project, it's between me and you, but I do want to talk a little bit about that. But I wanted to point out first how much of your physical presence is in every single one of these paintings. You leave your fingerprints, you left a hand mark on another painting, you have the swooshes. For me, looking at this work, it is very much you grappling with trauma in both the emotional, creative, but also in the direct physical way. And that takes, I imagine, a lot of work, a lot of emotional toil, and it's amazing to see these pieces here. Let's talk just briefly before I want to go to the next part. Let's talk briefly about La Oscuridad. How did we start this project? I mean, I know the story, but tell the audience how we started this project.
All right, give me a minute. Give me one second. Because I was like writing a couple of things down here. Because I did want to mention a couple of things from Mi Oscuridad. Okay, yes. So it was last year, actually. Before last year, we met up in Starbucks and we stood there for like 2 hours.
Yeah, we did.
Talking away. And you and I shared very personal um, stories of our childhood and about how opened we were as children to beyond the veil, and then we didn't understand that either because growing up, our the society and our parents would tell like, no, esos son demonios, tú sabes que esto y lo otro, and we experienced a lot of things that at the time we didn't understand, but we did share a lot of our child trauma, and it's just basically Mi Oscuridad series is expressing our traumas. It doesn't matter if you went through as a child, as a teen, or now. It does express our shadows that we have struggled with either depression or anxiety or shame, isolation, conflict with identity, and so forth. So that is what we depict in our Mi Oscuridad. Certain people might look at it and be like, not understand, but that's the whole part of art, I guess.
We're
Yeah,
definitely, I think we're definitely sharing how we process trauma through art and spirituality. And like, even some of the conversations we've had together, nice and long ones, we talk through our pain, but we talk with this idea of hope at the end of it. So while a lot of our pieces, tend to be dark, they're full of expression, full of emotion. And like, it's been, I'll say from my point of view, it's been amazing working with you as we've been doing this. It's amazing to see the pieces grow bit by bit. And thinking about trauma, now we can go to the rest of your work and the last bit of question. I wanted to touch on the other work that you're doing beyond canvas work. You mentioned previously that you were doing body art work. And so we've talked about personal trauma, we've talked about familial trauma, and I think you also deal with historical trauma. Could we see the next slides? Next one. Next one.
Yes.
Next one. Next one. Next one. Okay. So talk to us a little more about your body art. You told us how you started your body art, where you first started your pieces, but go a little more deep into it right now. Why did you keep doing it?
I just feel that I just finally found my passion when it comes to art. Yes, I love painting in canvases, but I just feel that I myself, like I said earlier, I myself am a canvas, and within my eyes, you could, some people, you could tell, my emotions. I could tell stories with my eyes. And I don't know, for me, it just works better. And it just, I just feel like it just works better. And I just feel my niche, basically, when it comes to my body art. I have a lot of history in my body and things that I went through with my body. And why not to express it within stories of body art?
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about this one.
That one with the Puerto Rican?
Yes.
Yes, that's the first one that I did. That Mario wanted me to do an art piece for his poem, The Reasons Why Puerto Rico Did March. And that's the first time I tried it, ever. on myself. And what I did was I read his poem, I broke it down. And if you could see like the words like porque a flag is a call for revolution, tyranny is laid, that's part of my brother's poem. Borinquen is not a colony. And then of course the Jones Act and the year we was, and I depicted how, how much our people, our ancestors have sacrificed and struggled so much, and that's why I depicted the tears of blood.
If you can go back to the Alexa piece.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Ogun.
Alexa.
Oh, okay. Well, Alexa, she was a transgender Puerto Rican woman that was murdered in Puerto Rico. Her story has affected us, a lot of us, profoundly, and it just shows how corrupt Puerto Rico is still, especially under the politics that's in, and the rights that women have and the LGBTQ community still have to this day. So Alexa, for me, represents all of us. So she does, our people represents all of us. So why not dedicate a piece to her and everybody else who came before us and after us, and who was our people,
Could you go forward 3 slides? One more. There you go. So tell us a little bit about your current collaborations. I see this is one of the pieces that you've done on someone else. Can you go through that a little bit, D-Bird? Just a few more. Tell us a little bit about this project.
Yes, I collaborated with, he's amazing. So, especially not for profit. He's amazing. He's an amazing artist, singer. And at first, not for profit, and Omar Villegas, who's an amazing photographer as well. They collab together constantly. They hit me up because they saw the first body paint of reasons why Puerto Rican should march in the Puerto Rican parade in the a call for action Puerto Rico on Facebook, which Johnny Rose put up. So Prophet hit me up to start off with the Black Lives Matter project, and I did the defacement from basketball on my face for that. So once they saw that, they really liked the way I did my body art, they called me for a second project, which is for a music video called Hotter Than a Hurricane. So this is just basically a tribute to Baba Sex. She's a Taina goddess, a Taina of the hurricanes. So, and basically these are 3 depictions of 3 assistants under her, Huracan, I think I wrote it down. Huracan, Cuantrisqui, and Gualtauba. So it was an amazing project. I had an amazing time. And yeah, she's playing Cuatrisqui. She's responsible for bringing rain and causing floods all over the land. Him is Huracan. I'm playing Gualtauba, who's responsible for the lightning and storm cycles. And yeah, I had an amazing time. It was a very spiritual moment with them, it was an amazing time, and I feel very grateful to be a part of this project.
That's amazing, and we can't wait to see what comes out of it. Could you go forward a little more so we can see a couple of more slides? Another. Another? Another?
So could you just like be the designer for the Puerto Rican version of American Gods?
Oh yeah.
Because these are like all superhero type characters, the way you play.
Yes. And the dancer who portrays Goldman Sachs, I did her makeup yesterday. She wasn't there at that time. So yes, and this young man here, he plays Little Huracan. So you have Little Huracan who becomes the future Huracan, and then Gautawa, the next one.
So, Iris, if we want to see your work, where can we find your work?
Well, let me check here. You could find my work in Instagram. Is Lil Wicked, LILWICKED 01_1014. And on Facebook, I am Artista. They all go together.
And if you want to see the Oscuridad series, where do we go?
Yes. We could go to Instagram at mi.oscuridad, OSCURIDAD.
Iris, thank you so much for this little interview. We are now going to finish up the show by hearing some of your poems. Thank you, Mr. Gastambide, for the technical assistance. Much appreciated, my friend.
Always a pleasure.
Iris, could you please, the floor is yours if you want to recite some poems.
Thank you, my love. All right, so I'm going to start off with the first poem called Muñeca de Agujero. Su primer beso, el primer roce, la primera vez que un hombre reclamó su cuerpo, un cuarto con carteles de superhéroes y lucha libre, un chico de 20, ella de 7. A pesar de lo que su madre le decía, esta partecita no se tocan, son sagradas. No temía estar junto a él, después de todo era su hermano. Confusión y conflicto le agredían por la forma perversa de abrazarla, pero su mami decía, a los mayores siempre se les respeta. La madre con sus quehaceres no se imaginaba en un cuarto de carteles de superhéroes, a su niña la violaba. Piecito descalzo, batita morada, atrapada debajo de su peso, una muñeca de agujero. Muñeca de agujero baila en su teatro con paredes plagadas de moho. Si solo tu madre te ha advertido que por tu vagina te iban a crucificar, reciclar, mutilar, distorsionar, que en realidad los hombres temen a las mujeres. Por el hecho de una sola mujer, un hombre perfecto desafió a Dios. Esa fue su excusa. Por eso nos llaman brujas, magia negra que sobresale entre nuestras piernas, y el castigo son esa desgracia. Señora, no puedes desilusionarte y reclamar que cuando lo encontraste lo botaste. Borraste los errores más de una vez. Qué ideal, qué carajo, contarle que él también fue violado, que no tuvo opción y no pudo decir que no, que también fue una víctima. No es excusa, pero se entiende. ¿Cómo se entiende? Se justifica un hombre de 20 con una niña de 7. So that's the first poem. The second poem is called A Letter to the First Woman Who Broke My Heart. There isn't a day I don't think of you. I despise myself for it. I gave you my life. I wasn't enough. Burned hands trying to reconstruct bridges you've set on fire. Mírame, I'm a broken compass. Woman who loved me when I was innocent. Was I ever though? The baby smell of my skin didn't last long. Because of you, I love those who hurt me. I am your daughter. Te llevo en mis entrañas, te olvidaste. Mother, the first woman who broke my heart made me question my worth. Am I sufficient enough to love, or am I damaged goods, or too damaged to be good? They say you're the spitting image of your mother. God forgive them, for they not know what they speak of. Que tengo su misma cara hecho pilo de sal, fría. To the first woman who broke my heart, it's been years I haven't intoxicated my body grieving you. When my bathroom floors held my weight and the walls cradled me and my drunken sorrow stay crying out your name. Your wail shook the funeral walls into ruins for the man that you love, but it couldn't stir an emotion within me. My brother and I lost an impeccable man. He left a war in us, and never once did you flicker a flame into our abyss. Mother, you were the first woman to break my heart. But like my father, I keep loving profusely, to the point of exhaustion, to the point of a cold sweat. Yo necesitaba sudarte, como un adicto a limpiarse. To the first woman who broke my heart, ya no me dueles. So that's the second poem. So this third poem, it was like a year and a half ago. I was on the 2 train going to work, and I see this homeless woman in the train. And you know, sometimes when we're in the train and there's homeless people and they're just like talking loud, and you're not really paying attention to what they're saying. But something told me, Iris, take off your headphones and listen to what she says. Once I started listening to what she was saying, I started texting everything that she was saying. And at the end of the poem, God bless that woman. I hope that she's okay. So this is the poem. Luisa, Joel, Isabelita, Jose. Isabel, Isabelita, her mother's name, who made her hacer el amor with black man. Her name was Isabelita, her mother. My children, my babies, hace 5 years. Rosa, Bárbara, Cecilia, Lázaro, Álvaro, Paola, David, Salomón, Petra, Lorenzo, in Connecticut, Miami, el metro car. From Miami to Connecticut. On el metro, killed the boyfriend. The boyfriend died. On Jackson Avenue, Esperanza, Caridad, Polino, Aurora, Figueroa. El pasaporte, el rojo de Santo Domingo. Un pasaporte rojo with my face. Un pasaporte azul de William, Esperanza. I remember, I no liar. Mi brother in New Jersey, 25 cents. In New Jersey, 25 cents. 25 cents. Excuse me, lady. Before getting off my stop, I rise to see her face. Doña de pelo sal y pimenta, I stood right in front of her. I noticed her history on her skin. She jotted down July 9th, 1956 on the side of an old newspaper. There's an ocean of papers with July 9, 1956, each written so she wouldn't forget, neatly torn. The names Esperanza, Julio, Isabelita, written. 25 cents. As I was about to leave, I pulled out her dollar and placed it in her hands. She calls back, Toma, niña! A neatly ripped white piece of paper, part of her soul, placed in my hands. It read, Bella gran poder de Dios San Miguel, Bella. She handed me a part of her heart, her thoughts, her words, wanting someone to know she was still here, that she and us are not that different. Her words spoke of demons that would never haunt me, of phantoms that her scattered mind remembers, and she always remembers. Luisa, Joel, Isabelita, Jose, Isabel, Isabelita, her mother. She doesn't lie. So that's the third poem. I have 2 more, if you don't mind. Actually, 3 more. Is that okay? Okay, good.
That is okay. You can go ahead.
Great. More. Okay. We're desired to be claimed, placed on a pedestal. They have never seen a goddess before. They can never love our esoteric entity, our love, our passion, our desires, lust, sex, power, divinity, our inspirations, our wrath, our illumination, prophecies, chaos, creation. They have never seen a goddess before. They can never love our. I think there's a glitch. Oh, it is prophecy that in between our thighs you can die and resurrect. The worthy will suckle at our breast, gain the knowledge of how creation began. Blessed be the one who loves and understands our heaven and hell and stay.
You're good. You're good to go.
Like I couldn't see anything.
You're good to go. You're good to go.
Okay. The other one is water and fire kills witches. Your torch burns me from the inside out. Has a witch ever wanted to be burned so badly? The way your tongue glides through the cracks of my mind makes me want to invite death. You create earthquakes, make it flow, milk and honey. Angel of death roaming through the night haunting me. This delirious possession, why do I bend so unnaturally? Cold sweats, mouth open to the four corners, gasping, clawing, reaching, howling, releasing willingly to this entity that is not here. Thank you. And I'm gonna have, this is new shit. New shit. Okay, let me see. Okay, start with this. This is new shit. Okay, can anyone hear me perfectly?
I can hear you.
Muy bien. Okay. Okay. Nací de una matriz peligrosa, navegando en aguas tóxicas. Su líquido amniótico casi me mata. Nací pequeñita, enfermita, pero nada en mí fue blandita. Mi primera educación sexual fue a los 6 años. Aunque no violento, el trastorno psicológico era suficiente cumplir con los deberes por el hecho de ser mayor que yo. A los 19 años, mi mamá me botó de casa. Por falta de respeto a Dios, a elegir el lesbianismo. Pasé por hambre e insuficiente chavo para comprarme un sándwich. Lo único fondo que tenía era para mi cel y transportación para el trabajo. Tengo mi cuerpo cicatrizado, mi rito de paso, I showcase con mucho orgullo. El año pasado fue extremadamente pesado. En febrero, mi perro mayor murió de cáncer. En julio, mi pareja de casi 12 años nos dejamos. Tenemos un niño de 3 años. Al no verlo todos los días, un puñal en mi pecho. Ya hace un año nos estamos divorciando, pero empecé a crear de nuevo. Aprendí a amarme primero. En agosto, mi padre falleció repentinamente de una grave enfermedad. No le temo a la oscuridad. Es más, me visto con caché, perfumada, les regalo ramas de flores, les saco a cenar y para iniciar la noche bailamos bolero en el cementerio. This year, my shadows clawed underneath my bed, feeling their scorched, heavy breaths on the nape of my neck, bearing dark gifts of childhood past. La soledad, mi confidante, maestra, revolucionera, muerte divina, amante. En el silencio desconcertante le hice el amor al pasado, mis dolores. Aferré mis fracasos con deseos ardientes hasta que vaporizaba en mi piel. acariciando mi toxicidad por su cintura, seducción, calentura. Justamente cuando sentía que navegaba por las nubes por el placer, enterré la maldita fucking puta viva. I forgave my mother for choosing my abuser and disowning me. I forgave my abusers, for branding me with a stench that men want to salivate. Me he pasado la vida en búsqueda de amor menos en mí misma, pero esta vez me miro en el espejo. Lloro de esplendor que ilumina mi sonrisa, mis ojos. Me dejo notas de amor, me toco con pasión. Camino firme, recta, no me vendo con fruto que no se cosecha debajo del sol. Si me ve caminando con elegancia, poder y regal, no es falta de humildad. Estoy consciente de mi existencia. Yo soy amor. El amor tiene que sufrir y luchar para integrar la conciencia colectiva, que es la elevación eterna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister. This has been an amazing night. Thank you so much for sharing your work, for sharing your art, for doing the interview. And thank you for everyone for being here. Despite technical difficulties and noise soundtracks, we have made it. Thank you all so much again for being here. Next month, our host will be Rebel Poet. He has 2 guests, and we'll let you know when the date is. The date is to be announced. But again, thank you so much again for all of you being here. Thank you so much for your words, for your art, for your presence, and have a good night.
Isa, can I leave the study now?
If you bring a drink with you.